What's up, guys? Thanks for coming back for yet another video. I will apologize first and foremost. There's a pretty decent windstorm outside right now, and the garage door is right behind the camera where you are, and there's might be this occasional rattle every like 15 milliseconds. Today we're working on a Huskee rear tine rototiller. A few months ago, I got a text from one of my neighbors. His name is Mason. Him and his wife, they just moved into our neighborhood, I don't know, maybe a year ago or so. The neighbors that were there before them had left this in their garage. So Mason texted me and he said, hey, do you want this? Do you want me to bring this over? I told him, sure. Let's take a look at it, bring it on over, and we'll see what's going on with it. I know literally nothing about it, so I won't draw this intro out too much. We'll hop right into this one. Let's see what it needs. That is one of the worst gases I've probably smelled. It's been sitting a long time. I don't know what the color is. I'm sure we'll find out, but the spark plug looks pretty good. And we'll check the oil. Just a couple other things. I noticed it's missing a recoil rope, so that probably broke at some point, which is probably why this started to sit. These things sit regardless of something like this breaking or not. It's like brand new. The oil, there is oil in it, which is the most important thing. What is the level? I don't know. That carb will definitely need to come off. Let's get that like blower housing off. We'll get that recoil thing addressed. 1992, that's what it is. 2 years younger than me. October 24th, 1992. So it's a Halloween machine. Okay, there's 4 bolts. We got those off. Okay, the engine spins over, that's good. It feels like it has, oh yeah, ow, it's got compression. That's good. All right, let me get a pull rope and a handle. We'll wind a new one in there and we'll get this thing back on there and pull it over and see if it's got spark, what it feels like, what it sounds like, all that good stuff. Looks like it broke off near the handle because there's a lot of this rope left back in here. There's a knot in the rope. Not anymore. Haha, no pun intended. So I have just a string, right? And I don't know, 2, 3, 4 feet, something like that. It doesn't have to be crazy, but if you keep winding it, obviously you're going to run out of rope, and the handle that's at the end of the rope obviously keeps it from sucking all the way in. So one way is to keep winding it and let that rope go in, right? But then you got to have a way to get it back out so that way it loads, right? And then you put the handle on, and then when you let go, it wants to suck and snap back in. So doing that without the string is really hard because you'll lose this in the process of letting it get sucked back in while you continue to wind it and load that spring. And I'm not doing any like special like sailor's knots or anything like that. I'm just kind of wrapping it around. So I'm going to wind it, and I'm just going to keep an eye on this. And then as it loads up in there, that spring loads, and then when I go to pull it, and pull this back out. Okay, so now, don't let this go. So now when we pull it, it wants to go back in. See, isn't she glad we had that little thing on there? If you have a pair of vice grips, this is a great time to use those. You can kind of snip those right here, just in case you do let go of it. Now we have a fully functional recoil. All right, we got that recoil shroud back on there. Let's see what our spark looks like. We're looking for an orange bit of activity in that little cylinder. I seen it. For situations like this, I've seen a couple people do this and I really like it. This is 2-cycle, mixed gas. And I like the oil aspect in here. It'll lubricate, a little bit of what's in that cylinder. If you just hit it with starting fluid somewhere, it's it still does the same thing. I just kind of like this a little bit better. Spark plug looks
Looks okay. A little bit of carbon. Okay. No choke, full throttle. Gosh, that sounded so good. I'm just gonna start disassembling this whole setup. I really don't know what's supposed to come off and what's not. So there's a bunch of Torx screws all over here. This choke bracket, I'm gonna get out of the way first. That's just held on by 1, 2. Okay, that allows us a little bit more access to this first, that intake manifold where it mates. There's one bolt right there and one bolt under there. I don't know if you can see. I'm afraid this muffler might have to come off to get that one, but I'm not sure yet. It's a 3/8. This is my smallest 3/8 wrench, and I can't really fit it in there. See if we can get this one. I want to see maybe if getting this carburetor up off of there makes it a little bit easier on us. I'm afraid that muffler has to come off. There's a Torx star in the middle. I'm embarrassed. That is rather embarrassing. I feel like I still would have struggled with that. I mean, it's kind of like jammed in there on an angle without that muffler even on there. Half of the gas tank is held on by those two intake manifold bolts, and the other two are on the bottom. There's a Torx bolt on top here, and I'm wondering if that drives all the way down and holds it. I think that's an adjustment screw. Yeah, I figured. See, that goes all the way down. The lengthiness of that one, so we should just pop right up and off now. All right, I'm not going to go any further until I get that gas tank off because, I see. So it sucks. All right, we'll look at this later. Sucks fuel up, puts it into this little reservoir, which acts as the float bowl, which then sucks it up into the carburetor and then blows it into the engine. All right, cool. Let me get that gas tank off of there. I don't even know what this is. I don't know if this comes, oh yeah, it does. Okay, cool. Well, let me just get a little COVID swab and I'll show you what we're working with. You see that green crap in there? I think that would be considered the float bowl. This picks it up and it'll kind of spill over into that little bowl, which will be the supply for it as it needs the demand. So that pickup tube right there is what will suck it up into the top of the carburetor, and that's what shoots it into the engine. I'm afraid we might need a gasket. So this air fuel mix, let's see what it's set at. 1/2, 1. So we'll just say pretty close to 1. 1 full turn out from a seated position. Okay, I want to take this, I'm assuming this acts as the fuel pump. There's probably a diaphragm in there. That one might be completely gone too. So that gasket actually doesn't seem to be doing too bad. It probably needs to be replaced anyways, but yeah, okay. So just from looking at this, here's what I believe happens. So anytime, I don't know if you've ever put your hand near a carburetor that has the air box off, and if you put your finger or thumb kind of near where that the mouth where it's sucking air in, there's a pretty decent little vacuum that is in there. And so this is that right here. This is where it mates with the engine, and it sucks directly this way. So this there's a spring right here and a little washer. Those guys. The RPMs of the engine will pulse this, and that's what sucks the fuel up through that tube. Still curious if that comes out. I don't even know if I want it to come out actually at this point, but we'll see. Okay, I have both part numbers. The gas tank gasket, the one that like imploded, and then we might as well just get this one while we're at it. Other than that, this, when I was looking at the diagram, I did cheat a little bit. This is the only removable jet. All of the other, Welch plugs and other things like that, those are all in there. This did not appear to want to come out on the diagram. It was like stuck in there. So we're just gonna leave that for now and hope that's good. Okay, this is a John Deere dealership near me, and I think they should have some Briggs parts. I have 2 Briggs parts numbers. I was wondering if you could take a look and see if you guys might have them.
Sure, just hit the crossover. What numbers do you have?
It's 4:25, so I have 35 minutes before they close. So I'm gonna run there. That store actually has both. Back from the store, and I don't know if this is a good sign or a bad sign, but these 2 gaskets together were $666. You might be asking, Chris, what does that mean? That means this is a devil tiller. October 24th, 1992. So it's a Halloween machine. So, for those of you that don't know, this is a soundproof box for the ultrasonic cleaner, and since this thing doesn't really fit in there, I mean, it's still getting basically all it needs besides this little bit, but I can't really do anything on camera with that not being able to close because it is just really loud and annoying. So we have 20 minutes left of me trying to figure out what to do, and then I'll come back, and hopefully this segment helps you appreciate the soundproof box a little more. All right, I kind of flipped that around a couple ways as it was going just to make sure I got every little crevice. It actually already looks a million times better. Just from the naked eye, it looks a little bit better than when we started. Let's get all this stuff out of here and cleaned up. So this is that main pickup tube. So this thing sucks the fuel up and it puts it into that little bowl. And then this little pickup tube, right, this will suck it up into the actual mouth of the carburetor. This is the first time that I can get this bread twist tie all the way down. So, and it's not hitting anything. So that, I believe, is what would have prevented this from being completely non-running. I have a relatively clean Cinnamon Toast Crunch cup. Fun fact, I actually don't know how I ended up with that thing. The Cinnamon Toast Crunch is probably one of my least favorite cereals of all time. Oh boy. Seafoam spray, that'd probably be better than carb spray. Don't do that. Use seafoam spray, even though that's like really expensive. All right, I'm gonna get some fresh gas. So there's really nothing left in there. Pretty much got most of it. The only main concern is there's still a little bit of green. Just gonna take just a spot of seafoam. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this, break it. I'm gonna shove this in the drill chuck. Okay, now, got a little bit. I think that's pretty much as good as we are gonna get that. I am going to get everything put back on and we'll pull it over and see what happens. Okay, but one last thing, just to give you the satisfaction of seeing. Here is that gasket, which goes just like that. It just hit 8 o'clock, so I can start it up and kind of run through, but I don't know if I can do any tilling tonight. I will make sure that we do that on this video. I'll kind of give a prediction. I think that it's going to take a few pulls to turn over because I imagine the gas has to suck up into that little bowl, and that probably takes, who knows, 2 pulls, 5 pulls maybe. So I just wanted to let you know just in case that's something that's going on in my head. So if you see me pulling it and pulling it and pulling it, don't get worried. my formal apology. I got virtually none of that on camera. But I can kind of bring you up to speed. While it's hot, I want to get that oil changed. That's why I'm fidgeting around with this. Okay, so here's what we know. The engine is good. So gosh, I'm so sorry I didn't film any of this. The tines spin. The drive system does not want to work. So while I was, Michelle Hornback. So Michelle, this is off and that is off. So somebody broke it and was in there. So here's what I want to do. I am just going to pop those off really quick. We'll pull that cover off and we'll just kind of take a look. I don't know what I'm going to be looking at, but we'll figure it out together. So I think it's just missing a belt. So there's 4 pulleys, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is obviously a tensioner pulley. Yeah. So what in tarnation is happening here? There's a bunch of screws that are loose down here. Looks like we're missing a pulley here too. There's supposed to be a pulley right here. There's a keyed, what is this? So it looks like this is what gives power to the wheels. This belt is for the tines, and this works just fine. So obviously there needs to be a belt for the drive, which there's not. And, you know, there needs to be a pulley right here for the drive, which there's not. So why is it missing, right? Why is it gone? I don't want to tap out too and look at a diagram. I want to try to figure it out. I mean, obviously I'll have to look at a diagram at some point to get the part numbers and the belt size numbers. And one thing is for sure, I like the motor. I don't know if the motor can be used for like a go-kart motor because it's got the cam and the crank pulley, both pulleys. And I don't know why, but I turned the camera off and I just started ripping things apart. No camera on, no idea why. Every nut and bolt, you have to like split. Here, I'll show you. I had to like split the thing in two. It's kind of like a 2-part frame. So you just take a bunch of bolts out and it kind of just peels back. And then there's some other bolts holding it into that side, and then you just take the whole wheel assembly out. I was briefly looking at a parts diagram just to see how much crap was going on inside of there, and there's 3 chains, so I don't know if just one chain is broken. Okay, so here's what's happening. That, I'm not gonna focus on it. That's a gear right there, and that goes here. There's supposed to be a gear right there that is similar to that size, and then that is connected to here. This gear links to that chain, and then there's a chain that links to that gear, which is that one, and I don't know what happened. Something imploded. That gear, you know, turned and it sent that gear into oblivion. I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming some kind of bearing in there. I don't know really what happened. Probably makes no sense to put, you know, it's probably gonna be $100 for all these gears and sprockets, and I keep saying gears, I meant to say sprocket. All these sprockets and chains, and I mean, these things are relatively useless with just the tines. The event that could take place to cause something like this. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind would be the chain broke. You know, chains break. It's not, you know, belts obviously break more than chains. I'm just seeing this down here. It's like, it's almost like it overheated or something. Let's just bang on this for a second. Yeah, so something failed there, and they took it apart, left it apart, put it half back together, and then they let it sit. And the pull cord broke. That part is really pull cord.
Well, you win some, and you'll lose some. I used to work with an older gentleman. His name was Mark. Really awesome dude. You know, those kind of people. He had this saying, and I've only heard it from him. I'm assuming he got it from somewhere. You may have heard it, but it said, some days you're the bug, some days you're the windshield. And today we were the bug. You can't win them all, but this still should make for a very interesting go-kart motor. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up button. I appreciate all the interactions that you guys have with this channel and this video. Thank you in advance. If you're into this sort of content, consider subscribing to the channel. We have a decent amount of videos. Don't really see stopping anytime soon, you know, God willing. If you don't have any exposure to this channel or don't know, who we are or what we do here, go take a look. I think you'll enjoy. All right, with that, I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for coming back for. Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for coming. Just every time.